Hello and welcome. This is In the Studio and it's episode number 52. Today the topic of discussion is arpeggios or arpeggiators. Today I'm going to be giving a little love to the arpeggiator function that's located in the default sampler when you open up a new channel. It's located in this little wrench tab here. I have just a basic sound and citrus pulled up for the demonstration purpose here. This also is available on third-party synths as well, just to note that. So how I'm going to set this video up is I'm going to just be using this little citrus piano sound to show you how the arpeggiator works. I'm going to talk about the functions here and how to set things up. And then I'm just going to give you a quick little example of how I've used it in this current project that I'm working on. So let's get right to it. By default, the arpeggiator is turned off, so you have to enable it obviously to hear the bad boy in action. But I'm going to back up for a second first. By definition, an arpeggiator is simply, instead of playing a sustained chord where you're playing, the notes all at once, you're cycling through those notes. So like that, rather than just a sustained chord. So I'm just going to use one note as an example here, and I think it'll be easier to kind of see what's going on if I do that. So there's a few different ways in which the arpeggiator moves the notes for you. You have a up direction, a down direction, an up down sticky, which means, so this one's an up down bounce. It's going to bounce from up to down, and this one's gonna, when it goes up, it's gonna repeat a few of the top notes. When it goes down, it's gonna repeat a few of the bottom notes. And random is simply just random. So let's say the range here is the octave range. So I'm just gonna set this to 2 and turn this to up. So it's just bouncing back and forth from bottom to top because it's going in an up direction. Just the 2 octaves there. We can turn it up to 3 now. If I turn it down, it's going to start high and go low. There you go. So the repeat is going to say, I want the notes to repeat, let's say, 3 times before it moves on to the next one. So that's what that does. Now the gate is going to determine if when you have it all the way open, it's going to be more of a sustained sound like this. And when you close it, it's going to shorten the notes. So that's what the gate does. The time is just the speed at which the arpeggio is working. So that's what that does. The slide, instead of the notes, playing and then moving on to the next note, it's going to slide from note to note. So let's enable that. So you can get some interesting sounds with that, with the slide function there. Now the chord here, so you can set, there's many different chord options to choose from, and it'll simply, it'll play through these chords depending on what note you have. So say I have a major chord selected, and instead of having to play that let's actually do a minor chord. There is no minor, so we'll do major. Oh, there is. Boom. Okay. So instead of having to play the minor chord, A, C, E, A minor. All you have to do is hit A. And it'll play that minor chord for you. And then there's many different types of chords to choose from, and you can experiment with that. There's also scales. So you can do the harmonic minor scale. So you can have fun with that. But I usually, sometimes I'll play around with some of these, but usually I'll just leave it on auto, and that way it's working off whatever chord or note you have, that you're playing, or that's in your MIDI sequence. So that's the basic rundown of how the arpeggiator works. Now I'm going to show you how I've used it in this track here. So what I've done with the ARP, I've used it on a third-party synth. Like I mentioned, you could use it on a third-party synth, and I'd used it on Monarch, which is a reactor player. This is emulating a Moog synth. So I'm just going to play this back for you really quick. This is a remix I'm working on at the moment. It's in rough arrangement mode, but you'll get the gist of what's happening. So just have a listen to this ARP here, and that's what I want to show you here. Okay, so I'm just going to explain a little bit what's happening here. So let's get these out of the way for a second. So I have a little bit of filter movement here, as you could probably hear with the ARP, but it did do some more interesting things. So this is it's not a major component of the track, but it's really helping kind of create that extra tension leading into the main part of the track, the main drop, if you want to call it that. So during the breakdown stage, it's playing at a slower speed, and then once that drop hits, the speed is getting faster. And while the speed is getting faster for this 4-bar section right here, the octave range is jumping from 2 octaves to 4, just for 4 bars. And that creates a nice little moment right before everything else kicks in. This big bass stab here, the rest of the drums, or the high-end drums right there. And I'm liking how that's sounding. So I'm just going to play back just the ARP, and it definitely sounds not as good played in isolation, but that does not matter. It matters how sound in the context of the mix. So I'm just going to start it from right here. So yeah, with the combination of the filter moving on Monarch, and then that arpeggio, getting faster, and the octave jumping up, for that 4-bar section, it just creates creates a nice little moment. It helps build the tension, and I thought that I would share that with you. So that's the video for today. Definitely, test out this arpeggio function. You can use it on third-party synths. obviously, like I've done here. Yeah, so if you have any questions or comments, please hit me up. I'd love to hear from you. But I'll see you soon. Take care. But I'll leave you with a little bit of a demo here. Bye.